Hello, welcome to the first video on Dead and Buried. My name is Kurt. I'm going to be doing horror movie reviews every week, but to get started on the channel, I just thought I would show off my horror movie Blu-rays. Cool, I lined that up right. So alrighty, let's just get started with this guy. Annabelle. So I've got some controversial opinions on the Annabelle and the Conjuring universe movies. So basically, I tend to love the ones everyone hates and hate the ones that a lot of people love. Annabelle is one of those movies that everyone seems to hate in this universe of movies, but I actually really enjoyed. I enjoyed many other films in this series a lot more, but I definitely enjoyed Annabelle quite a bit. Annabelle Creation. So this is one of those movies that I was speaking of earlier that I enjoy more than Annabelle. It's prequel / sequel, prequel to most of the Conjuring movies. I enjoyed the crap out of this movie. Super scary. I think there was quite a bit of gore in it as well for one of these Conjuring movies. Yeah, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. The Belko Experiment. So this guy is kind of on here in a technicality, actually. I don't really consider this movie to be a horror movie. When I say technicality, I mean I think it's technically a slasher. So it's in like the slash kind of subgenre of horror. I wouldn't really class it as a thriller. It falls more to the horror area, but I enjoyed this movie. A couple of characters I wish had survived a bit longer, but overall, quite enjoyable. Got some good actors in it. Blair Witch. So this is 2016, 2015? 2016. I think I bought this movie for Halloween 2017. It is currently December 2018. I still have not watched this movie. I'll be honest, I don't know if I ever will. I've got a ton of other stuff to watch. I think I'll enjoy much more. But hey, maybe I'll get around to it one day. Candyman. So I bought this one about a year ago as well to watch for Halloween. Didn't end up watching it. I think it's generally considered like a classic, I think it's from the 90s, so like a kind of like a modern day horror classic. But I really want to watch this. I love Tony Todd. I'll probably make an effort to watch that in the next couple of weeks. The Conjuring. So this is actually the movie in this series I hate the most. No gore. I didn't find it scary at all. I don't think anybody even dies in the movie. I just don't really consider it a horror movie. Just based on if it doesn't have gore, if it's not scary, and nobody dies in it, I don't really consider it a horror movie. The Conjuring 2. I actually enjoyed this much more than the first Conjuring movie. It's probably my favorite movie in the Conjuring series. Super scary. I think it's a decent amount of blood and gore. The nun fucking creeps me the shit out even just looking at the cover on this fucking thing. Yeah, love it. Crimson Peak. Not really a ghost story, more so a love story with ghosts in it. But Guillermo del Toro crafted a wonderful movie with this. It's probably been about, oh my god, it's been 3 years since I've watched this movie. I haven't even rewatched it since I bought it on Blu-ray. My fiance hated it. It creeped the shit out of her when we watched it in the cinemas. Refuses to watch it with me, so that's probably part of the reason why I haven't rewatched it. Yeah, I saw this for my birthday a few years ago, and I do not regret it. I love this movie. Cult of Chucky. So this is the most recent film in the Child's Play Chucky movie universe. I love this movie. I'm not sure if I liked it as much as Curse of Chucky. I definitely don't like it as much as Child's Play 2, but the movie is a fun ride, and I will definitely be coming back to this very soon to rewatch it and probably do a review. Speaking of Curse of Chucky, here we are. This kind of kickstarted Chucky's return to modern movies. I think the latest one we had before this was Seed of Chucky in 2004. This came out in 2013, I believe. Yeah, 2013. Yeah, enjoyed the crap out of this movie. Gory, surprisingly scary. They kind of cut back on the humor quite a bit, which I don't mind the humorous Child's Play Chucky movies. I like Bride of Chucky. I even like Seed of Chucky, which I know a lot of people don't. But yeah, I really enjoy this movie. A Cure for Wellness. Once again, one of those movies I don't know what genre to put this in. The closest thing I can think of is horror, so that's where it sits in my collection. Enjoyed the crap out of this movie. I didn't watch it for a while after it came out because for some reason the Blu-ray when it came out was still like $15 more than every other new release movie. So like most new release movies are like $30 on Blu-ray in Australia when they come out. This was sitting at $45 for about, God, maybe like 6 or 7 months. I think I finally found it on sale one day, so I bought it. Dead Rising Endgame. Based on the Dead Rising series, a sequel to Dead Rising, I think Watchtower. Watchtower was the first one they did. It's okay. Not as good as Watchtower. I probably won't rewatch it, at least for a little while. If I end up getting Watchtower on Blu-ray, if I can find it, I'll probably just watch them back to back, and that'll probably be the last time I'll watch this. But overall, yeah, it was okay. Don't Breathe. So I think this was the second, feature film from Fede Alvarez. I think that's how I say his name. I'm terrible with pronunciation. I fucking enjoyed the shit out of this movie. Because I loved his Evil Dead remake, I guess. I love that. Jane Levy, I love as an actor. I think it's got Dylan Minnette in it as well. I like him. Even Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang does a great job in this movie. I definitely need to rewatch this in the next couple weeks. Gets a little bit creepy in a non-horror way towards the end of the movie, but it's really, really good. Doom. I've kind of got this as a completionist thing. Like I've got all the Doom games. I love 2016 Doom. Like it's got a really enjoyable, I think it's like a 6 minute, no, maybe like a 3 minute like FPS scene, like where it's like from a first person point of view, which is just awesome. So that was a very large contributing factor to me buying this movie, just that like one small scene. But yeah, it's okay. Not the worst thing in the world. Dreamcatcher, based on a Stephen King book or short story or something. I don't read Stephen King. I really should, because I'm a big horror fan. I like to get my horror through film, you know? I don't really get the sense of dread when I'm reading something. Great cast: Morgan Freeman, Thomas Jane, Jason Lee, Damian Lewis, Timothy Olyphant, and Donnie Wahlberg. Tom Sizemore is in it. I don't watch a lot of his stuff, so I don't really care. But overall, the cast is great, gore's great. I found it pretty scary the first time I watched it, but I was also like 14, so, you know, it's probably not scary. I haven't rewatched it in a couple of years, but I enjoy the movie. Event Horizon. So this is one of those movies I think is a underrated horror gem. I think it got fucking torn apart by critics when it first came out. It's kind of gained a cult following over the past like 20-something years. Has it been out? Yeah, it's been out like 21 years at recording this video. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I first watched it when I was like 12, and I caught it at like midnight on TV after my parents had gone to sleep. And I've been like rewatching it every couple of years since then. I had the DVD, had to get the Blu-ray. Yeah, I love it. The Evil Dead. So this is the original. This is the one that started all. I love the Evil Dead series. Funny enough, this is actually my least favorite in the series. It's mainly just because it has teething issues, just like with most horror franchises. It really comes into its own thing in the sequel / remake, Evil Dead 2. But yeah, I can still sit down every year or so and give this another watch. It's just awesome what they did with the special effects and the filmmaking techniques when they were making this movie. I love Sam Raimi's work, Spider-Man, even his like Wizard of Oz stuff, horror, just everything he does I usually enjoy. Sorry if the framing of the video is a little bit different. I had to just take a break because it's so hot in Australia right now, just so you're aware in case anything seems a bit off. Evil Dead 2. So this is my favorite movie in the Evil Dead franchise. Actually, Evil Dead is my favorite piece of media in the franchise, but in regards to just the films, this is the one. Perfect runtime, good amount of gore, a little bit scary, like less scary as I've gotten older, but when I was younger, it was great to watch. Good amount of gore, good amount of comedy. Definitely took a different direction from the first movie. It's a direction I think paid off incredibly well for the franchise, and I can't imagine what it would be like if this movie hadn't have changed everything. Army of Darkness. So this is the third movie in the Evil Dead franchise. I've actually got the definitive collection here. I think it's been discontinued now. This has the director's cut, the theatrical cut, and the television cut. So this is a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack. The director's cut and the theatrical cut are both available on Blu-ray, but the DVD has an exclusive version, which is the television version, which I think they've done that because some of the footage on the television version is such low quality that it's just a blur. Like I've got a 4K TV, it's just a blur on that TV. It looks really bad. So I generally just watch the theatrical cut or I watch the director's cut. Next up is the Evil Dead remake. This was also directed by Fede Alvarez. Love this movie. Can watch it over and over and over again. Great amount of gore. No comedy in this one. They went the full horror route. They delved deeper into the body horror elements of Evil Dead and just ran with it, and I think it paid off incredibly well for this. There were originally plans to combine this version of Evil Dead, I think it was Mia was the main character, and Ash, and have a crossover movie, but they decided to go for the Ash vs Evil Dead instead. And now that Ash vs Evil Dead's been cancelled, they have they've scrapped all plans for anything with Ash, just because Bruce Campbell's done playing Ash, which is really unfortunate, but I'm still happy I've got this. Next up is Freddy vs Jason. Killer soundtrack. Special effects haven't aged great, but this is just a fun movie for me. I know a lot of people hate like flying around explosions in the final fight, but I love this movie. It's a fun movie. I can watch it whenever. Don't feel the need to watch it at night or during the day or Halloween or any time. I can watch it whenever, and it's great. The Final Destination 5 film collection. I like all the movies in the Final Destination series. 4 is probably the worst one, but it's one of my favorites, if that makes any sense, you know. But man, I love these movies. Once again, can watch them any time of the year. Not really horror, but enjoyable nonetheless. Next up is the original Friday the 13th. I actually have not watched this yet. I think I've watched like the first 10 minutes years and years ago. I never got back to watching it. I only bought the Blu-ray a few months ago, but I think I've seen every single Friday the 13th movie except the original. So I really need to go and watch it. Just as a horror fan, I need to say that I've seen the original Friday the 13th. I think saying that I haven't, I don't know if I classify as a real horror fan. Next up is Friday the 13th Part 2. I honestly can't remember very much about this movie. Like, it was the first appearance of Jason in a Friday the 13th movie, but overall I think it was pretty forgetful. I can't really remember anything from it, which is honestly the same with most of the Friday the 13th sequels, except for the ones that actually have Tommy Jarvis. Friday the 13th Part 3. Once again, pretty forgettable. I can't remember a damn thing from this movie. I watched it like 7 or 8 years ago when I was like, what was it, 14? I think I was like 14 or 15 when I watched this movie. It's okay. Like, it's a slasher. There's nothing real special about it. That's actually the last Friday the 13th Blu-ray that I own, because you can't get the rest of the series anywhere in Australia. You can't get the Blu-rays. I'm going to have to import I think there's a Friday the 13th like 1 to 8 collection that I can import from America. That's region free. I'm gonna have to try and import one of those, because like I do enjoy the movies. Like, they're fun slashers, most of them anyway. Next up is Ghost Ship. This is a horror movie from the early 2000s. I love this movie. Can watch it just so much over and over again. It's got Carl Urban. It's got a very young Emily Browning in the role of a young ghost. I mean, just having Carl Urban, that's enough for me to watch this movie. But yeah, man, what's the studio? Dark Castle. Yeah, they made so many kind of mediocre horror movies in the early 2000s, but I love them all. They did 13 Ghosts as well, which I also love, but can't find the Blu-ray anywhere, which sucks. But yeah, I gotta try and track one of those down. Maybe I can find a region-free one from the US. The Green Inferno. I still don't really know what to make of this movie. I love most of Eli Roth's movies, especially his horror movies. But man, like, it definitely made me feel uncomfortable, which I'm sure was the intention of the movie. But while I was watching the movie, I just couldn't help but feel like the only reason for the movie was to make people feel uncomfortable, you know? I don't think Eli Roth kind of did up the script. Did he even write the movie? Yeah, so Eli Roth wrote the movie. I don't think he had any intentions for the movie besides just to gross people that make them feel uncomfortable. I don't think this was a passion project of his or anything. I don't know. The original Halloween. Now, I only watched this movie for the first time about a month and a half ago. I know, I'm a horror fan. I only watched that like a month and a half ago. What's wrong with me? I'm gonna get crucified for this. I actually don't like this movie. I don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad movie. I'm sure if I watched it probably like 5 or 6 years ago when I originally intended to, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. It's just I've seen hundreds of horror movies, and I know, trust me, I know so many of them. Most of them have borrowed just about every element from this movie, but I just found that not enough happened for me. Not enough happened until like the last 40 minutes or so, and the first like 40-50 minutes was just setup, which I'm fine with setup, but I need like half an hour of setup max for a movie that's an hour and a half long, you know? It can't take up more than half the movie is an hour and a half. But like, overall, it's okay. I saw the 2018 Halloween. I love that. I watched that the day after I actually watched this. I think they're very good as a companion piece with this and the 2018 Halloween. But by itself, I myself personally wasn't the biggest fan. I spoke to some people, some colleagues at work. They also weren't the biggest fans of it after watching it for the first time this year. I wish I liked it, but unfortunately not. Next up, we've got Hellraiser 1, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, and Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. They're probably wondering why I did those kind of rapid fire. I consider them all to be part of like one big trilogy. And then there's Hellraiser 4, and then there's all the rest of the crappy sequels. Number 5 is really bad, especially. Love these movies. Super gory. Funnily enough, so if you're not aware of Australian movie ratings, it goes G for kids, PG for older kids, then it goes M, MA, and R. As you can see here, it is rated R, but about 8 years ago, when these first got re-released on DVD, this was given an M rating, and it was not cut or anything. So this R-rated movie is being distributed as an M-rated movie. I just find that really funny. So the only reason I was actually able to get these on Blu-ray is they got it re-released this year. None of the other Hellraiser movies are available to buy on Blu-ray at the moment. I think number 4 used to be, but it was discontinued, and I can't find a copy anywhere, which is really unfortunate, because I still, even though it's not a great movie, I still want to have it on Blu-ray. I'm pretty sure all the American copies are all region A, so I can't play them on my Blu-ray players or anything, which is really unfortunate. Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. I love this movie. I know a lot of people don't like Rob Zombie's movies, especially his horror movies, but I love this. I love its sequel. There's a third film coming out next year, which will be, or this year, sorry, third film coming out in 2019. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but House of a Thousand Corpses, love it. It's got Rainn Wilson in it, which I didn't know until a few years ago, but it's awesome. The Devil's Rejects. So this is the sequel that I was speaking about to House of a Thousand Corpses. Much different stylistically. It's almost like a road trip hillbilly thriller instead of like a house of freak shows like the House of a Thousand Corpses original movie is. Still very enjoyable. My Blu-ray's got this special edition artwork on it. I don't know if that's exclusive to Australia. I don't know if any American or UK Blu-rays have this artwork, but I love it. Yeah, I love House of a Thousand Corpses. I love Devil's Rejects, and I can't wait for the third movie. House of Wax. Spoilers, Paris Hilton dies. That's the price of admission alone. Idle Hands. Once again, got like a special artwork on it from Umbrella Entertainment. Still don't know if that's exclusive to Australia. I love the artwork. This is a really fun movie. I had never seen it before. I think I got the Blu-ray at the start of this year. Picked it up pretty cheap, but yeah, this movie was really fun. It's got Devon Sawa. It's got Jessica Alba. I think it was her first feature film appearance. I'm not 100% sure. She was like 18 in this movie. It's got The Offspring, which just shows when this is from. like from the late 90s. It's got The Offspring in it. Insidious and Insidious Chapter 2. I'm putting those kind of rapid fire as well because they're just one big movie. There's 4 movies in the series, but those 2 are, I consider, one movie because it's a complete story with just those 2 movies. I love the Insidious movies. They scare the absolute crap out of me. I'm not easy to scare, at least with movies. Tap me on the shoulder, I'd probably jump like a maniac, but horror movies don't generally scare me. But the Insidious movies do a very good job. That's all thanks to James Wan, due to one of my favorite directors. Love everything he does. I saw Aquaman recently. He even did a great job with Aquaman. But yeah, Insidious and Insidious Chapter 2, great horror movies. Love them. Best ones in the series. Insidious Chapter 3. So this is a prequel to Insidious. Doesn't really have anything to do with Insidious 1 or 2 besides the returning character of Elise. It does take place before the first Insidious, so you'll know why that character is in this movie. It was okay. Not the worst Insidious movie. The worst Insidious movie is Insidious: The Last Key. Now, I say this is the worst Insidious movie. That doesn't mean it's a bad movie by any means. I still enjoyed this movie.
Had a couple of twists and turns I wasn't expecting. It sort of has some alternate endings, so I need to actually check that out. I didn't know it had an alternate ending. I enjoyed the movie. I think it came out in January, so when it comes out in January, you know it's not going to be a great movie, but it was okay. The new adaptation of It. I enjoyed this movie. It was far better than I thought it would be. I think it was far better than anyone thought it would be. No, it's not a remake of the 1990 miniseries. It's a new adaptation of Stephen King's novel, not a remake. A new adaptation. Too many people get that confused, and it just bugs the shit out of me. I do think this is much better than the 1990 miniseries. I don't have that one on Blu-ray. I just don't like it enough to actually have it on Blu-ray, not even from a collector's standpoint, like I do with some of my Blu-rays that I don't really like. But yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I'm so looking forward to the second part that's coming out in, I think it's like mid or late 2019. I'm really looking forward to it.